Hello, everyone. My name is OrionYTP, and this is the Emperor's New Groove for the PC. I apologize for the state of my voice in advance. I don't know what happened, but it's been like this since Sunday. So, here to help me out in commentary is.
Hi, I'm Absol13. I will be commentating for Orion's run today.
And he will be a tremendous help today because have a great show for you today. This is a very underrated speed game, in my personal opinion. It was not my first, but I just fell in love with it. So we're just gonna not beat around the bush, just jump right into it. This is a 3D linear platformer with about like 30 levels, and the goal is to just get to the end as quick as possible. This game starts at a very unusual time, so I'll give a 3, 2, 1 go. Everyone ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, so with the movement, the main movement here is that we're just rolling the entire time. It's faster than the normal movement. You're going to be seeing some strats that we're going into here. There are certain levels that are already loaded in that we can just jump into. So going into this first strat, Orion's going to be rolling onto the button right here to it's called gate skip. And we're going to be jumping and talking to the kid, and we're going to be sprinting and hitting the kid. And instead of completing the level like normal, we're going to be doing a death warp back to the beginning and go straight back to where we first talked to the first kid. And now we're just going to jump over into the boy right here and then go straight to the second level. All right, down into village 2. Basically, over here, we're just breaking 2 pots, and then there's another strat of jumping into the void where the level's already loaded in. So we're going to be grabbing the sprint right here, and we're going to be getting a specific lineup to be able to sprint jump onto a wall, and then to be able to get around the wall. And we turn the camera like that because sometimes you can fall through the wall and fall down by accident. But that's basically the premise of it. We're just going to be sprinting through here, killing the bug, and then getting straight into the door. We're going to be trying to get through this as fast as possible. The game goes pretty fast. All right, so this next track coming up right here, we used to be able to just do this run as the turtle, but we're going to be doing it as the llama. We're going to be using the camera as we enter into the level, which is basically bringing the camera into a certain section, which he did get second try a little bit onto there, but it's now going to be a little bit faster right here because now we can just sprint with Cusco and we can go actually skip a cutscene through here. And what Orion is doing right here is he's going through some sprint management. Basically, whenever you sprint and jump, it makes to where you don't spend all that sprint, basically being able to use it all the way towards the end of the level. And now, if we do not have enough sprint, then we just end up stopping. But what Orion's going to do is he's going to turn around and he's actually going to grab what we call a Wampy. It's a extra life in the game. And what it's going to do is as soon as you grab it and lose control, within the frame, the cutscene starts and he grabs the Wampy, skipping the cutscene. So now Orion is now just going to the normal dialogue like it was at the end of the cutscene, allowing you to just grab the idol and just go straight into the door into Village 4. And this is an introduction to what is called up warps. So basically what Orion's doing is running into a wall and then pressing back and jump within a frame of each other, which he was able to get it pretty fast. It can be done on a lot of walls that are very slanted like this. You'll actually see upwarps done throughout majority of the run. It has actually helped us to be able to save a whole bunch of time. Coming into here is what we call Yzma skip. So what Orion's going to do is he's going to wait a bit, roll, and then turn his camera. It's a little rough going into it. Sometimes getting into the time is a little rough, but yep. And then this up warp, it is called a roll up warp, and it's basically just a stop animation where you roll into the wall, wait for stop animation, and then jump, which warps you up. And now we're going into Jungle Knight 1. Not really much is going to be going on right here. So basically, the only strat that's going to be happening within here is we're going to be sprinting across into a part of the waterfall that's going to boost us to the other side. And then coming up right here is normally you're supposed to sprint into the tree. Instead, we're actually just gonna be jumping the whole gap and then just going straight to the other end, which Ryan was able to get first try successfully right there.
This game's
And like
music
I said,
bops.
it really does, Bob. It's a really good soundtrack. So right here, this is the waterfall skip I was talking about, where Ryan is going to land a specific spot right there, and allows you to skip to that part of the island without having to get all the balloons. All right, now we're going into Jungle Knight 2. A lot of it is just movement right here going into it. But there is one strat that I believe he's going to be doing right here. He's going to be taking the torso inside the area coming into here, and he's going to be specifically angling it into a part to where he can just jump right onto it, and he's going to be doing a pinpoint accurate strat to where it'll land him onto the corner. I'm going to let him focus right here. Looks good.
No touchy.
It's a very tight trick. It's very tough. He's going to be sitting up right here. It's definitely not an easy strat.
No touchy.
So that I can be able to explain. So there's actually a part of the ceiling right there that you can hit that is actually water. It looks like he was actually able to get a better angle right here. It's a very hard, very specific strat that you have to be able to set up for. But luckily he was able to get it without dying.
Checkpoint.
And then basically here we're just picking a rock, going on to the other side of the building, and then we're just going to make the kick slam into 2 rocks instead of 1. Then so whenever you see Orion roll and then attack right there, it makes it to where he doesn't teleport back to the kid. That way he's just near the door. All right.
Ow.
Yep, and then the rest through here, we're going to be going to the second part of this level. Just doing some sprint management, a little bit more up warps where you're going to be seeing right here, which has also saved us a good amount of time from getting the balloon. So let me take a look here.
Yum, yum.
And while Orion's just going through that, I'm going to go ahead and read a donation. We got a $1 donation from West Dog saying, "Pull the lever, Orion." Wrong lever.
Why do we even have that lever?
Woo-hoo-hoo.
It's funny because this game's dialogue, even though we do skip quite a bit of it, it does reference the movie a lot, and there's a lot of fourth wall gags.
Yeah, and it really does stick to the whole premise of the movie very well. All right, and so sprint management is very important here because that way you don't have to fall into the pits where the swinging platforms are at. But it's not the end of the world. Even if you were to fall down, upwards actually does save it. Let's see. Yep, he is able to get onto the platform. Yep, don't need for the up warp. Now with the premise with the guards, sometimes dodging them is a little tricky, which they'll end up becoming a little bit more of an issue later throughout the run, but that'll be coming for another time. So when we're actually meeting the end of Jungle Knight 2 here in just a moment, getting into a little bit more of a relaxed state of the game, be able to allow us to breathe, read donations. So in Jungle Knight 3, we're into the game to where normally as a kid you would think you would have to mash one button. You would have to mash the X button to be able to sprint through, but really you can just mash all 4 of the face buttons to be able to get max sprint just to get to the end of the level. And we definitely want to be grabbing the Wampy right here. We'll be using it for later deaths, like when we're going into another level. Another thing to be able to get into more full health later throughout that as well. And this is basically what the whole entire premise is of Jungle Knight 3 right here. It's an auto-scroller going into the next level. And I want to mention when Orion does is that when he goes into the level, as the screen starts to go black, he presses F4, which takes us back to the menu immediately without having to go through the clear level screen to go through. It does save about a little bit of time, and it does add up through the run. River, it's River. Basically, all we're doing throughout the entire level, we're holding straight for the next 8 to 10 minutes. Just going through some damage boosts, which is why we have the Wompies to be able to do that, and it's the fastest way we can be able to go through it. It's a nice little breather to be able to go through the level. And anyone that wants to throw any donations our way is the best time to throw them away, and I'll be more than glad to read them off. Which, by the way, I do want to mention right here that we are currently at almost at $42,000 raised so far for urban arts, and so far the goal has been going fantastic, and everything has been going fantastic with that as well.
Tasty.
Now, while we are going through this, so you can run this game with either controller or you can use a keyboard on the PC version. Some interesting things that do happen when you do run on keyboard, like let's say with the Brat, which we call Bike Kid. He basically slows down, and the game will slow down if you're controlling it with the keyboard. If you use it with the controller, he's at full speed, and we believe the devs did that because they thought that the movement with the keyboard was a lot harder. And that right there is one of the secret Wompies that Orion was able to be able to get through some of the more areas that allows us to just hold straight forward to go through without losing one of the Wompies we'll need later through the run.
Yum yum.
Yeah, Orion got me into this game about a couple years ago. It's a fantastic speed run. It may seem a little bit lax here, but it gets a little bit more wild throughout the run, and it's definitely worth the watch. And we should be coming up to the end of River 1 here in just a moment.
That's better.
It's funny because there's a funny little remark by Pacha in one of these levels where he goes, "This scene was much shorter in the film."
That is true. He did say that. Now, the only extra premise to add with River 2, it's basically the same. These little whirlpools, they will get stuck, so you have to mash out of them. But we do use them for a slight bit of a speed boost going through it, and it does kind of provide that when you go through that. But that's basically only change that is in River 2 is just these whirlpools, and they can, because he's having to mash through them.
Yeah, big shout outs to, because Absol, myself, and quite a few people, shouts to Drix Grim. We all came from the Battle from Bikini Bottom community. We had the sponge block earlier on Tuesday. That was a fun time, so it's funny how I've kind of brought a little bit of the crossover.
Oh yeah, and it's definitely been a fantastic crossover ever since then. And while we're still going through that, let me see here. I do want to give a couple of shout outs to some people within the group community. I want to give a shout out to Jamie Joe, Zabang, for helping push the game, helping find us strats within the game. It's been very much appreciated for all the work they've done. And so many other people throughout the community that has been such a big help with finding strats throughout the game as well.
And if we're going to throw out shout-outs, I'll also throw out to Skywards, whose original 1 hour, 1 minute time got me into the game. Big shout-outs to him. And also shout-outs to other Groove community members that don't necessarily speedrun that much, but contribute so much to the community, like Mr. The Tank, for example. A lot of our tool riders, like Ultra Stars and HDC. There are tons of people that go into this that make this community tight knit. And if I've forgotten you, I'm very sorry, but you are important to this community as well.
Most certainly. And throughout this section, it's basically just playing Golden Eye with some alligators and just shooting them as they come by. And it comes in throughout a 3-cycle pattern, I believe, going through this, and after that, they just knock down the logs. And then we go into the next level of rigor. All right, and now going into River 3. So basically here, we're going to be racing the brats in the river. It's a little bit scripted, but basically it's just another thing where it's like racing them, holding forward throughout here. It is possible to potentially lose the race. It can happen, so it's not really a segment that you have to just be like very sleeper on. You do have to like get focus onto it, because at the very end he can't just get by you, and then you would just have to do the whole race again. And you can actually, off of him, what Orion's doing is that he's allowing him to bump into him, and it's allowing him to get a little bit of a boost, a little bit of optimization here. I believe there's like 1 or 2 more times we do run into the Brad later throughout the game. You know,
Something's going on with my audio. I'm hearing a lot of static right now.
Oh, you're probably hearing it through my end, you're hearing it through the game right now. Alright. Just a little bit of technical difficulties going through it. But we're about to be near the end of River 3 right here, going into it, while we're currently going through getting the audio issues fixed real quick.
Yum yum.
Not sure what's going on there. Okay, we're good. Wheel.
All right, welcome back. Real. All right, going into River 4. This is the only time where the river changes throughout the run. All we're doing is just shooting balloon animals into the gate to open it. This can be very RNG, and it can actually lose up to a minute. Sometimes it will spawn into bad spots. Like, it'll either spawn where the secret is at, or it can spawn on the right, or it could just drop down the potion and just completely explode. But it looks like there's some good RNG going on right now. Really. It's not very much staying in the secret. I'm not seeing anything explode. That one actually spawned closer than normal. That's a bit surprising. That segment actually that was probably the fastest segment I've seen. That was actually very good RNG. And that's I believe that's the only RNG aspect throughout the remainder of this run. It's just those balloons just goes into the river. All right, well, that is through the break right there, and now we're going to be getting into some more of the rest of the run of platforming. Into Jungle Day 1. So what Orion's going to be doing here is going to be grabbing the sprint. What he's going to be doing here is going to be doing a double up whip right here to be able to get into the corner right here. And he's going to be jumping around this mountain. And this is going to skip him all the way over to where the mazes are at. Let me focus a bit right here because it does take some time.
Let's have a look-see.
Easy.
All right, and he does get it first try. They can mess it up if you do fall down once. What it'll do is it'll just land you in the water and just start back where you first spawned from. So it's not that much of a loss. So Now from here, basically we just up warp near where where the door is at, and then we just start sprinting, jumping there, and that is the end of Jungle Day 1. All right, for Jungle Day 2, it's basically a lot of movement, trying to get some certain cycles throughout here. Let's see. So while you're doing that, so we got another donation from West Dog, $20. Boom, baby. A BFP runner crossing over from Nickelodeon to Disney. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Okay, donation completed now. Take him out and finish the job. Thank you for the late night entertainment.
Boom, baby.
And it looks like Orion's on a good cycle right here to be able to get onto the platforms. And now with going to the first one, going to the second one is a little bit more dicey because sometimes you can run into the plant or run into mud or get hit what I call the pog plant. Yeah, because when they open them out, they go pog. I think that was unfortunate. The Hornet ended up bumping into him. There was one time where I would jump on the log and I just ran straight through it, but luckily that didn't happen to Orion. And yep, just waiting a bit to where he doesn't get hit by the plant. And then coming up right here, you can either get hit by the plant or you can just go straight around the plant, which Orion was able to do right there. Yep, and we're coming up to the end of Jungle Day 2 right here. Oh. All right, now in Jungle Day 3, a little bit more movement. There is a segment where Cusco becomes a different animal. And that, I don't want to jump to conclusions of who that might be. But
Vote now on your phones.
All right, if you guessed a weirdly shaped frog, you are correct.
I'm a frog.
Alright, so basically it's just jump on the buttons, jump around Tipo so you don't trigger his dialogue, and just jump into doors. And what Orion's doing here is that you can keep that max bar when you go through the doors, jumping through. And you can be able to go through just like that with no issues. And he's going to be doing the same thing right here, grabbing the red idol here. It is a bit tricky to get. Alright, but he was able to save it. That's just good. And he's angling to where he doesn't bounce off of the wall. Weird way. How he angles Cusco whenever he jumps makes it to where he doesn't end up bouncing off. He can just go straight on. And here, you're just doing a puzzle. And now we're becoming a llama again. Now, in the beginning of the game, if you were to do dialogue, the old man would tell you to look up at the big boy. Here, it's very literal because we're gonna be because the red idol is looking up at the big boy. And that is gonna be the end of Jungle Day 3, and we're going into Mountain 1. All right, so we're getting into a little more dicey things. So what Orion just did there, he just did a jump attack to where he could just grab the sprint and skip a cutscene, and then to be able to sprint and jump onto the bridge. And now there's the strat coming up right here. He's going to be grabbing the statue right here, and he's going to be doing some pause buffers to be able to just sprint jump onto here. So I'm going to go ahead and let him focus. And you got it first try.
Nice.
It's not an easy strat to get. All right, we got another up warp coming up right here. So we mainly do the up warps like this for the keyboard, where he's going to be doing a roll up warp. And as he up warps, he's going to turn his camera and move himself to be able to try to land on that right on the edge right there. It is very tricky and hard to get. All right, and he gets it. Nice. All right, so we're going to be doing the same camera manipulation right here, where he's going to press sprint and camera at the same time, which is another way you can also do it in Village Day 3. All right, going into Mountain 2. All right, so we're going to be getting a little weird of an upward going around the mountain, and he's going to be doing the same type of upwarp right here, which is very precise to get. So I'm going to let him focus right here because it's very pinpoint. First try, nice.
It's always one or the other. You didn't see that.
Phoenix there.
Must have been the wind.
All right, so yeah, it must have been the win. All right, so what Orion's gonna be doing here is a little bit of a up warp, but all you do is just roll into the pillar a bit and then jump. So he's going to be doing is he's gonna be
Let's have a look-see.
going into look mode, angling his camera sitting right, and just jump into the door, which has no collision, and just skipping all the way to the next segment of mountain. Do you probably want to save right here, just in case? All right, so Mountain 3, there's a very small chance. I don't want to do commentator's curse, but I do want to mention that, yeah, I'm looking at Ryan shaking his head, so I'm not going to mention it yet. Don't want to jinx it. I'll say it afterwards. But basically, he's just going to be going sprinting through the mountain right here. And it looks like he is good.
Whee!
Yep.
Oh yeah, I'm jumping, jumpy jump. Yeah. Booyah!
All right, in the next segment of this level right here, we're actually going to be having an ice skating challenge with Frank. And right here, you just grab a certain idols into a certain way. He grabs it. This time, you just grab all of them. And normally, Ryan would do a little bit of a song. Yeah.
Booyah! Llama coming through!
All right. Now we're going into City 1. So basically right here, you're going to be up whooping right here, be able to go into the door, and then there's another door you go to that gate brings you into where you get the golden Cusco idol. But instead of doing that, we're going to be jumping, rolling into the corner right here, jumping, going top right into the wall, and then just hitting the trigger. Sometimes it'll be a little finicky to get into. And there we go. And what I was going to premise on Mountain 3, so for some reason there is something that happens on Mountain 3 that causes the game to just completely crash. Luckily that did not happen right there on Mountain 3, so it was perfectly fine. City 2, a lot of important movement and health management throughout this run, and trying to be on cycle for a lot of things. So right now we're on perfect cycle,
Clean.
going through that level without the way for the platform. All right, so coming up right here is we're going to be doing a pot skip up warp right here. He's going to line it right here on the edge very precisely. He's going to do both. As soon as he gets the first one on there, the second one's going to be not as hard, so I'm going to focus getting that on there. All right, looks good. And he's just going to throw the pot right on top, and he's going to up warp onto it and try to do like a roll jump. So what he's trying to do is there is a platform right above that door, and if you're able to land onto that, you can actually skip the entirety of the nice, and you'll be able to skip all of the parkour segments, and it does save a good bit of time. All right, and now that we're through that, and the reason why Orion doesn't grab the health is because we're going to be implementing of using a Wampy later throughout the run. And now that we'll be able to get our sprints, I'll be able to get a little bit of movement in here. So, the shotgun right here is a guard door clip. Basically, it's going to hit you once, and then the second time it hits you, you just clip right into the door as you roll.
Out of my way! Booyah!
And the reason why we, now the reason why we death warp right here is because there's a lot of guards that we're going to be running into, and we do this to be able to have full health, and in case we do get bad guard cycles, to negate all of that, and you'll be able to just go straight to the end of the level. So, okay, that was a good jump. Second one, good. Now with this one, since Orion was able to skip it, there was a cutscene that he was able to skip, just keeping on moving, because if he didn't get out fast enough, the cutscene would play. All right, yep, and a lot of this is just sprint management and just going through straight into the level. So far, no damage, so he should be perfectly fine going through without any issues. Commentator's curse. Okay, one guard hit throughout that. That was a pretty solid segment. All right, so what we're gonna be doing right here is Orion's gonna be shooting those two platforms, and he's gonna be doing a sprint and jump onto the other platform on the other side. Nice, first try. All right, and there's a strat coming up that we call no head. We used to take the statue head of Cusco and use it to click to the door, but we found a new way of doing that by uprooting twice on top of the door. So Ryan's gonna line up precisely near the yellow square right here and get the camera set up, and he's gonna be sprint jumping into the corner of where the golden door is. So I'm gonna let him focus on that. And he had a first try. Nice. All right, going into City 3. So weird ways on how you can grab the pot. You can just grab it without even being on the same field as it. So what he's going to do, he's going to just touch the button, drop the pot, and he's just going to jump onto the platform right before it closes. And it does save a little bit of time compared to just throwing the pot onto the platform. And he's just going to do the same right here.
Whee! Oh yeah.
Checkpoint.
Let's have a look.
All right, and there.
Oh yeah, I'm jumping, 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 jump.
Checkpoint.
Okay, so there's a strat right here. I do believe we do call this
Let's have a
pantsless
look-see.
in the run. So there's a specific.
Boom, baby.
Nice.
Right now. All right, so basically there's a specific opening where the invisible wall is to where you upwarp on top of it and line up your camera, and then you just do a pause buffer on when for it to go. And he was able to get that off first try. It's a very hard strat to get off, and it does save a good bit of time if you do get it first try. And then here you're just taking the drum, just getting the boulders into the mouth. The reason why Ryan's not grabbing the checkpoints is because of a depth warp he's going to be doing later right here. It allows him to get sprint and be able to teleport him back to where the naked man was. And yes, he is naked. And normally we just do normal jumping here, but now we just do sprint jumps, and we're going to be jumping into a void right here, and he's going to take us straight near the end of the level into a guard section. Now it could be either one or two guard cycles, then it looks like you might have gotten a good guard cycle here. And we throw the pots up here because it makes the guards bonk into them and then go the opposite direction. And it makes it a lot easier. Yep, and we'll see. Nice, and he was able to get the nice cutscene loading skip. So when you get caught in there and go into there, it allows you to skip that. And this is throne skip. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and explain throne skip. So basically what throne skip is that as he's gonna start begins to throw the potion, you just jump up, roll into the door, and allows you to enter the next area without the cutscene playing. All right, and that is the end of City, and we're gonna be going into Catacombs next. And with Catacombs, it looks like we have a little bit of audio issues again. All right, so with Catacombs, Catacombs 1, 3, and 5. Basically, all three of them are basically going through a roller coaster, making sure you hit specific points on the track to be able to gain speed. And what you'll see Orion do is you'll see him hit some little bit of certain points like that, where he just goes off a bit to gain a little bit more speed. And you'll see some very crazy speed throughout Catacombs 3, Catacombs 5. All right, now going through Catacombs 2, a lot of it's going to be movement based and make sure I get the anti-cycles. So Ryan's going to be jumping right here, grabbing some sprint, and he's going to try to do an upwarp right here. Okay, looks like the audio is fixed. Normally right there you can do an upwarp right there, and it takes a little bit of time and allows you to get them on top of the platform early. So
Checkpoint.
what Ryan's gonna be doing is there is a certain point in this game where right here where if you're able to sprint jump enough right there, you can just go onto the platform. But if you're a little bit too late, you can bonk. Luckily, he was able to get through that easily. And basically throughout the parts of this level, it's just basically an obstacle course. Just going through a bunch of axes, a bunch of fire. Now, you can get 3 idols in here. The red idol door in front is the most useless door of all time because it just gives you another red idol when there's another idol where we're going to right now without any cost. Because the door that it requires the 2 idols, because the red door that we go to only requires 2 red idols.
Out of my woohoo! Booyah!
And it was able to get through that easily. All right.
Out of my way!
Coming up next right here is you're gonna be dealing with some block kids.
Llama coming through!
We're just gonna be knocking them off, and then we're gonna have to deal with the father. And this is the second part where there is RNG within this segment. They could be either he gets either 3 black bombs, or he gets some red bombs going in there with the black bombs. 2, 3. He got, all right, that is the perfect RNG. That is 3 black bombs in a row. On pace, let's go.
Check.
Out of my way!
Woo!
Oh. All right, now going into Catacombs 3, you're about to see some wild movement with the roller coaster, which Orion's going to need some very hard focus on right here. And let's be having a little bit of audio issues again.
I don't even think this. I think this is the game doing this. It's
It
like
might be the
happens on
game.
the
It
levels.
might be something with DX Twin that might be going on. That is a possibility. But you know, it's fine. We'll get to it. Yeah, Ron's gonna make sure he's gonna hit every single one of these spots right here. You're gonna see him get insanely fast, and he's gonna be when he gets a certain amount of speed, you're gonna see him dodge some parts to where he doesn't get too much speed. Because if you go too fast on here, as you try to land somewhere, it'll just throw you right off the course, and you would have to start again. So I'm going ahead and when he gets a little bit focused on here, so that doesn't happen. All right, it's good. Yeah, that one could be a little finicky to go through. It's very easy to mess up. He dodged that because if he didn't, he would have just fallen straight off the map. Give a little conversation and pop draw on our way. So we'll be jumping into the void again. So basically, what Orion's gonna be doing here, he's gonna be lining himself up onto this little platform right here with the sky, and there is a secret on the bottom near the pit right there that you can land and jump onto. It's a little bit of a tight jump, but he should be able to get it right here.
Llama coming.
Nice. And there's actually a secret door you can go to, which initially we were supposed to be the bunny, but we just skipped out the entirety of the level. All right, last part of last part of Catacombs 5 coming in.
This is new.
Yeah, it has to be something with DX, but it's perfectly fine. So this one's another segment coming in. We're gonna see some wacky movement coming in. And just a reminder, the gold raise is up to $60,000 for Urban Arts 2024. Definitely appreciated y'all donating to that cause. It definitely helps a lot with urban arts. And we definitely appreciate everyone that has donated so far and all the contributions y'all made. All right, now that we're at the end of Catacomb 5, we're going to go into the final part of the game called Lab. So it's 5 labs. So this one is a strat that me and Orion ended discovering. So it's a 1 frame up warp where instead you don't press back and jump on the same frame. Here we're going to be pressing it at this within the frame of each other. We're pressing it at the same exact time. And he's going to get it first try. It's a bit of a tight one. You have to get a specific angle on, and it does save quite a bit of time when you get it. And we do a camera lock right here to be able to skip another cutscene going into the area. We avoid grabbing coins because we're going to be turning it into the bunny. Because the more sprint you have, the longer it takes for you to charge the bunny's jump.
Hey,
And I believe, do you want to go ahead and save here, or are you going to be good?
Yeah, I'll be good.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So basically, you're the bunny. You jump in here, grabbing 2 idols, and then we're just going to be going over to the red idol door and going into Catacombs 2. All right. So what Orion's going to be doing here is he's going to be
checkpoint.
he was able to get a control hitting the attack button
All right, now.
on a certain frame.
Out of my way. Turn
It allows him to skip an entire cutscene. Also, turtle what? But now he's a turtle. Now we're gonna be going into the void. Because now we have the power where turtles can fly. And there's an invisible platform there for some reason that you can just go on, and it will just take you straight to the end. Here, now you're the frog. We're gonna be using its hops to be able to just grab the right idol and go straight to the end right here. So he's gonna be just doing a hop into the door and be able to grab the checkpoint, grab the right idol, and then just death warping.
Booyah!
Booyah! Alright, so now we're just gonna be the llama the rest of the game. So now we only got 2 levels of lab left to go right here. So we are nearing the end of the run. And so far the run has been going fantastic. So right here, there's gonna be a strat coming up that it does save quite a bit of time going through some cutscenes, which we're at another level where the music is just jamming.
No touchy. Tasty.
Which also, sprint management is not as important, but it's still kind of important right here because of certain segments.
Booyah!
There's gonna be damage boosting throughout a whole bunch of the swinging axes going through here.
Booyah! Booyah! No
Give a
touchy.
double booyah for good luck, especially with the strats that's gonna be coming up here in just a moment.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
Alright. And since you're gonna be coming up to the strat right here, I'm gonna go ahead and explain it to you because it will kind of go a little bit fast. The strat is called Yeast. This one is also called Forbidden Yzma Skip. So what we're gonna do, so what he's gonna do is a certain lineup you're gonna be doing, and then line his camera up at the corner, and it'll allow him to sprint into said corner, and he's going to be pause buffering through that to be able to get the certain setup for the
Let's
upwarp
have a
into the
look
jump. So I'm
see.
gonna focus right here real quick for that.
Yeah!
First try, nice.
Check.
That is so much easier than the strat we used to do.
Yeah, but we would just like jump around completely, and there would just be a small platform that you would have to do a 1 frame jump on to.
Baby.
And now, it is fine taking damage here because there's a golden health outside that brings you to max health, so it's never an issue with getting health. But that did skip a good amount of the game, especially with that getting first try right there. All right, so and there's one more major skip throughout this level that is going to that he's going to be doing. He waits right here in the middle right here for the elevator to come down for it to come down as soon as he gets to the end. Kind of manipulates it. So what Orion's going to be doing here is he's going to be doing a up warp, and he's going to align himself into this pillar specifically to where he gets just enough height to sprint jump into the red idol. So I'm going to let him get some focus here.
Llama coming through.
I
He
got
also
the
gets that
instant
first try,
setup.
too. I know, that's insane.
That trick is
Alright,
like
we are
very finicky. There's like multiple like case scenarios you have to prepare for.
Most certainly. All right, we are in the final level, lap 5. We're near the end of the run here. So a trick you can do is you can kind of do a fast setup of just hitting the button and
Llama
sprinting,
coming through.
which Orion was able to do right there. He was able to get right on the cycle. If you're a little late, sometimes you will have to wait for the platform to come all the way back down, but he was able to make that cycle.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
All right, so basically it's going to be going through 3 trials. This one, you're just using 3 grapes
Llama
and
coming
the buttons.
through.
And then, let's see if it gets the door skipped. Nah. That one's a little, I believe we discovered that one's like a 1 frame setup right there for the door skip. And then it's very finicky to do. So right here, Ryan's gonna be switching over to keyboard because we're gonna be going into Brat one more time, and we just dash into him, and that's it. And then we just go straight back to control the rest of the run.
Booyah.
All right, so going through here, we're just gonna be going through some platforming and some very precise stuff. We're gonna get to 2 rails, and then it's gonna involve doing a damage boost.
Checkpoint. Attack. 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 Attack.
Booyah. Yeah.
And I hope you enjoyed Ryan's little rendition of Beep Beep on the Sheep.
Attack.
All right.
Dodging that cow's
And
tough.
we use. It really is. You get stuck in there. You're gonna have to either kill it or go around it. So,
Going out of my way.
he's gonna be hitting this twice. You'll just hit the buttons and be on the very longest timer ever made. You could sit here for about a minute or 2, and that timer will still be going.
Booyah.
It never decreases ever. I don't know why they made it like that.
All right, and we are in the final segment of the game, where we are going to race Yzma, but as a cat. And we are going to be coming to time here in just about 30 to 40 seconds. Time ends when Orion grabs the vial.
Checkpoint.
All right, come to right here.
And time. Booyah.
See ya on the other side.
Right. And that was Emperor's New Groove 80% done in 47:37. I'm very glad that everyone's able to come and watch the run. Me and Orion is grinding this game a lot. We have a huge appreciation for this game, and we genuinely believe that everyone would enjoy running this game as well.
47, that is not bad.
47 on the marathon run is pretty good. And we have a whole bunch of resources if y'all want to get into the game. It is a fantastic speed run. We also have a Discord that y'all can come in. A lot of community members love helping out with the speed run. Personal shout out to Orion for coming out to pace. Thank you so much for coming out and representing the group community and running this game. Shout outs to everyone in the group community that has contributed to the speedrun, contributed to strat hunting, and has even supported the community any way they can. Also want to give a shout out to the BFB community for also giving their interest into the game as well and giving their support as well.
Booyah!
Yeah, thank you so much, Absol, for helping me out through through a very rough time for my voice. I'm really happy to have you here. Thank you so much to Pace for having this great game. Thank you to the audience for coming out. Thank you to the Tang community. Shout outs at speedrun.com/Tang. If you want to check out more of my stuff, I do stream at twitch.tv/OrionYTP. I also have a YouTube channel. You can check us out there. We also have a community Discord for the game if you want to check that out as well. And with that, I will leave it at there. Booyah!
Booyah!